Yeah, hi, good morning.
Yeah. All right, then let's continue the session. Events in object-oriented programming. Events in object-oriented programming. So first thing here, what is a event, right? We all know a event is nothing but a event is always triggered when we perform certain action. Perform certain action. And this action can be anything. Say I am here on this class, I clicked on this back button and it took me to the previous screen. What actually happened? So here event got triggered, event got triggered, and also there is some written logic. So event got triggered first thing. There is a written logic behind it, which got executed because of that. Got executed. So triggering event triggered, and this became your event handler. What we see here, this became the event handler. Event handler, where we have our logic written for it. So this is a event, correct? Every time this happens. So say if we are taking the example of our classical report, suppose I am talking about start of selection event. When you are clicking on the execute button, that event is getting triggered. How it is getting triggered? There is a logic written behind it for that particular event. So we have seen events in every concept in our classical report, in our ALV report, in our module pool programming. So in our object-oriented programming, we also have the concept of events, concepts of events. And what these events do? So using events in object-oriented programming, the method of one class can call the method of another class using event in object-oriented programming. Method of one class can call the method of another class. Is it okay? Is it okay? Method of one class can call the method of another class here. So how things actually work for implementation again inside the global classes, SAP has already given lots of events. And unlike the classical report or module pool programming, here we do not have any limited number of events concept. Events concept. Is anyone waiting in the lobby?
Mm.
So here we do not have any limited number of events concept. We can have any number of events. It totally depends how they have been defined. If you want, you can just go and check any of the standard classes. Say I'm opening grid class, my ALV grid class, and check this one. I opened the display method, go to the event section, and you see here lots of event has been given. So based on the requirement, you are going to use these events. But what is the purpose of an event? Here, using events in object-oriented programming, the method of one class can call the method of another class. Right? Steps. Steps for the implementation of events. How an event is implemented here in object-oriented programming. So let's understand the situation. We are required to follow 3 steps here. So we are required to follow 3 steps for the implementation of events. Implementation of events. What are these steps? So step 1 is triggering method. So triggering method. First method that will be triggering it. So here we are going to raise our event. Here we will trigger or raise our event. This will be step 1. What is my step 2? Step 2 is we will have a event handler method. Handler method. So we need to create a event handler logic handler method where we will have our logic written. Our logic written that we want to execute once the event is getting triggered. Correct? Once the event is getting triggered. Then if I talk about the step 3, so once we have our step 1 and step 2 done, that is event got raised, we have our event handler written. Now we are going to tell the system that this event handler should be called if the event is getting triggered. This step is nothing but a registration of event handler using set handler statement. Using set handler statement. So 3 steps you will be following here. First, you will have a triggering method where you are going to raise the event. Second, will have the event handler method where you are going to simply write the logic which will be implemented if the event is getting triggered. And the third one, we will tell the system that this event handler should be called if this event is getting triggered. So we do the registration of event handler. Registration of the event handler. Okay. So let's take one requirement to understand it in detail. I will go to SE38 and I will create a program. Events in object-oriented programming. Executable, package, and one request. Sorry. Let me take my transport request. Events in object-oriented programming. Today, I think internet is a little bit slow. Okay. Wait. Still loading. Yeah. Now we have our program. So we can simply write the logic. Yeah. So let's take one requirement to understand it better. Say I want to display the what should I say, material data from MAKT and Mara table, Mara and MAKT. Suppose I have this requirement. So what I did, I simply came here and I created my structure, begin of TY underscore material, and I had the column and from MAKT, let's say language key. So SPRS, type SPRS, and our material description, type material description. End of TY underscore material. Okay, right. So I created here my internal table, data LT material, type table of TY underscore material, and I am taking input. So my LV Matner, type material number, and as usual, we go for the select option. So I'll create a select option as material number for this LV material number, right? Now I will follow my object-oriented programming concept. So my class display material, or let's say class material definition and class, and here my public section, and I'm having here suppose one method which is going to display the material. So display material. I will implement this class. So class material implementation, and we are having here end class, our method display material, end method, right? As usual, we will simply write the logic, select what are the columns. Three columns I'm taking from Mara table and two columns I'm taking from MAQT table. So I will use them accordingly here. Mara, Matner, Mara, MTART, MBRSH, MAQT SPRS, MAQTS. From Mara inner join MAQT on Mara material number is equal to MAQT material number. Then I will store it. So into table LT material, and if psi sub RC is equal to 0, so if psi sub RC equal to 0, I will display it. So CL demo output display. A general approach that we follow as usual. I am just displaying it, right? Now I can simply go for my start of selection and create the object and call this method. So data keyword hello material is equal to new material, material, yeah. And I will call this object. So call the method display material. right? This class I created, I defined the method, and now I am simply calling it. So activate it. I will execute. And here I will pass my material numbers and check it. It is returning me the output, correct? Oh, sorry, I have not given the where condition, I believe. From Mara and into table, I have not given a where condition here. So where Mara Matner in S Matner. It looks good. Check for it. Activate it. And I will pass the input again. Are we getting the result? Yes. Yeah, we are getting. This is something we are getting here, correct result, right? Now I want to perform something here. I want to perform something here. Say, I want to display, now what I want, display a error message or a message if the output, if the input is incorrect. What if we are passing the incorrect? I want to display a message using OOPS event, using object-oriented programming events. So what it becomes, now this is my triggering method, right? Which will decide whether the event should be raised or not. So this becomes my triggering method. Here I will declare my event. So display message or display message. One event I'm declaring. Inside the public section, I'm declaring one method, one event, display message. Here I have written the SQL query inside this class. And if size sub rc equal to 0, I'm getting the output. But what if size sub rc is not equal to 0? It simply means my input was not correct. So I can raise this event here, display message, right? I can raise this event. This becomes my triggering method then, yes or no? From where we are raising the method? Everyone, we are raising this method from here. Our step 1, we will trigger or raise our event. Second one will be our event handler method, where we will be writing the logic. That is the definition of your events in object-oriented programming. The method of one class can call the method of another class. So there is my method of one class where we are raising this event. I will go for another class. So class, let's name it event handler class so that we can easily understand it. Definition and class. And here public section, I will define my method. So event handler method. And this method is for which class? For event display message. This I am creating for this display message event of which class? Class is my material. There is the syntax, the declaration of event handler method. This is my event handler method. Method name for event keyword, the event name of keyword, and then the class name. Either it is local class or global class, it does not matter. But the syntax will be same. for event handler definition. Once you have this event handler, now you can go for event handler implementation. So class event implementation and class, and here we can give method, event handler method and method. So event handler implementation. So I will simply do here write statement. Please enter the correct material number. Please enter the correct material number. There it becomes my event handler method. Is it my step 2 or not? Everyone, is it my step 2? There is my event handler method. Manish, there is my event handler method. Correct? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Then we are required to go for the last step here. The last step is registration of the event handler. So first I will do the creation. So I'll create the event handler class object. Let's say hello event handler is equal to new my event handler class, event handler. Yeah, I'll create the object of it. And I will do the registration. We are going to simply perform the registration here. System is a little bit slow today. Wait. So now once we have this one, we can simply do the registration. So set handler, this is my step 3. Step 3, register the event handler, register the event handler, check it. So set handler, there is my hello event handler object, and event handler method is event handler method itself. So copy and paste. This is for the object of our triggering method class. So this is the object hello material in which we are triggering the event. So this, I check for the error. There is no error. So we are required to register the event handler for our event triggering class. Now I do the activation here and check it. I will put here a breakpoint here also so that we can understand. I put a breakpoint here also. Here, my select query. And I will execute it. Pass the input and click on execute button. So we are in the desktop 3, open it and click on F6. This select query will be executed. Are we getting the LT material? Yes, we are getting total 10 records. So size of RC is equal to 0. This will be executed and we will get the output. Correct? We will get the output. But the question is, what if I am passing incorrect input here? Let's say I'm writing here my name, which is not there in this. Which is not there in this. I clicked on execute. And now I want to check it. Now I want to check this. Wait for it. So desktop 3 here. Now I clicked on F6. What is the size of RC value? Everyone, what is the size of RC value here? It is 4. Are we getting any LT material here? No, it is 0. So this size of RC is not equal to 0. It will go for the raising event part. We are at line 50. This event will trigger. And then what is going to happen? F6. Where we are now? Everyone, where we are now?
Event
Are we
handler.
inside the event handler method or not?
That's correct.
So as soon as this event got raised, this particular event handler got implemented automatically. Why it got implemented? We have already done the registration. So automatically this will trigger. And if you click on continue, what is the output you are getting here? There is my output. Please enter the correct material number. Please enter the correct material number. That's the thing here. Is there any confusion in events concept? I said you there is no appropriate type of event here. The event you define, it will become an event in object-oriented programming. There are thousands of standard defined events inside the classes. Based on your requirement, you will have to do the debugging and check it which one will be suitable for us. Also, we can define our local event as we did today. So any confusion in this? Any confusion in this?
No.
What about others? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Prasanna,
sir.
is it okay?
Yeah, getting it, Amrit.
Yeah, great. So we saw the events. Then finally, let's move on to the ALV here. Object-oriented programming system ALV. OOPS ALV. So if I talk about ABAP programming here, if we talk about ABAP programming, there are mainly 3 types of ALV. 3 types of ALV. First one is our normal ALV created via function module like reuse ALV list display, reuse ALV grid display, and reuse ALV hierarchical sequence list display. So normal ALV using function module or traditional ABAP programming using function module. Second one is our OOPS ALV. OOPS ALV. And the third one is ALV with integrated data access. Data access. So that is our last concept which we will be seeing here. This gets executed directly on our database layer. So if I am talking about this OOPS ALV, this is also of two types. First one is full screen ALV, and the second one is container-based ALV. Full screen ALV and container-based ALV. Here, we are required to create a custom screen, create or design similar to module pool programming, a custom screen which will be used for displaying the ALV. If I'm talking about full screen ALV, here again general field catalog we create. Here field catalog is not needed. Catalog is not needed. Automatically from the data element, it fetches the field label and use it. Inside the data element, if you recall, we pass the field level for each and every column. So this concept automatically brings the data from there. Here we follow the general traditional approach. We create the field catalog, and then we use it. But again, it is a container-based ALV. We are required to create a custom screen. On that, you are going to create a container, and inside the container, you are going to display your ALV. That is your general approach. So let's talk about full screen ALV today. So for full screen ALV, there are only two steps we are required to follow. Step one is get the object of the class by calling the factory method of CLSALV table class. CLSALV table class. There is one factory method. Inside this CLSALV table class, it is a static method, so you can directly call it. We cannot directly create the object of this class because the instance generation is private. So we use this factory method to get the object. And step two, call the display method, which is a instance method, display method, to display the output. So we are going to just follow this approach, and I will open this GUI and let's see it. So user data SE38 and the OOPS ALV programming. Let's see this. So our full screen ALV, type as executable, package, and request. So what I'm going to do here, again, let's take one requirement. Say I have my employee data. So I want to display employee today. So begin of TY employee, our columns that we are using, ID, data element, name, data element, department, type data element, manager, type data element, salary, type data element, and then currency, type data element. So end of GUI underscore employee. So I will create an internal table and work area. So data keyword, LT employee, type table of GUI underscore employee. Correct. Then what we do, we take our input. So I'll create a select option. LV employee ID, type, data element, and then select option. So select option as employee ID for local variable employee ID. Local variable employee ID. We can write the logic now. So startup selection, select query, ID, name, department, manager, right, salary, currency field from our employee table. So employee underscore tab and storing it. So into table LT employee where the employee ID in as employee ID in as employee ID, right? This is our general approach, correct? Yes or no? Everyone, this is our
Yes.
general approach. Now we have the data in this internal table. So I can now follow these two steps. So I will go to this CLSALV table class. Let's check it. I will go to SE24 and here I am going to call the CLSALV table class. Open the display method. Check the properties. What is the instance generation here? Everyone. What is the instance generation here? Private. So if I try to create the object of it directly, what will happen here? If I go for data keyword, let's say I'm going for LOALV equal to new keyword, my class name, CLSLV table class, check for the syntax. What it is saying? An instance of the class CLSLV table class cannot be created outside the class. Why? Because the instance generation is private in nature. You can't create it outside. Getting my point? You can create it outside. So what we are required to do here, what we are required to do, we will follow this approach that we have. Call the factory method. Go and check. Sorry guys. So go and check this factory method. I will open the method section and check it here. Scroll it down, 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 down. Can you see this factory method? What kind of method is this one? Static method. So we can directly call it by using class name. Second thing, it is public in nature. So we can call it outside the class also. It is going to return us the instance of the ALV table object. Check the property, check the parameters. See it, what it is exporting. What it is going to return you? A reference of that is a object of this CLSALV table class itself, right? So I will call this factory method. Let's go and call it. I'll go to program, pattern, ABAP object pattern, My class name, CLSALV table. There is someone in the lobby. No? So CLSALV table, and I will call the factory method. Call it. Try block enable it, and catch and try enable it. There, yes, I want to display exporting. Here it is going to return me the object. Meanwhile, there is a changing parameter. You will be simply sending your internal table here. Send your internal table. Based on the internal table, it is going to return you the ALV object. So I will create a reference first, data keyword, LO underscore ALV, type ref to this CLSALV table class. And I will receive the object in this LOALV. I check for there is no error. This is my step one. Get the object of the ALV by calling the factory method. Once you have the object, call the display method. So I will go to program. I will directly call the display method. Step 2, display the ALV. So what I will do here, LO underscore ALV, call the display method. This is my step 1. Get the ALV object. ALV object. Now I will do the activation. I will click on execute button and you check here the input. Execute it. Check it. Is this a ALV or not? Everyone, is it a ALV? Do we have the label for each and every column?
Yes.
Right? Do we have the label for each and every column? Yes, we have the label. Yeah, we have the. So that is our full screen ALV. But then there is one limitation with this SALV. Very important note. Interview question, it can have become. Note. We cannot use this CLSALV table class to create a editable ALV. Yes, this is one limitation. We cannot create editable ALV. Editable ALV cannot be created. ALV cannot be created. Be created using this concept. Editable ALV cannot be created using this concept. So please remember it. So if somebody is asking what we can do with this CLSALV table, so we cannot create a editable ALV. Rest every property we can access of a ALV. Rest every property. Some people also call it, it is also known as quick ALV or easiest ALV. Only two steps are there. Call the factory object. Sorry, call the factory method, get the ALV object and display it. And display it. So this is our ALV here. Okay. Container based ALV will take some time. We can cover it today. So we'll see that tomorrow.